Welcome to Coach Bites. This is the 28th of May 2020. On behalf of ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our guest for the day, Mr. YVL Pandit, who is a PCC accredited coach. I'm truly looking forward to hearing his story, his journey, and his ethos, and what coaching means to him, and what his experience with coaching has been until now. YVL, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Priya. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be speaking to the ICF Mumbai Chapter Group.
So YVL, every coach has a journey, every coach has a reason why they get into coaching. And I've heard such a variety of stories from fellow coaches. I'd like to ask you, what is your story? What drew you to coaching to start with?
I started my formal coaching journey about 10 years ago, when I did my first coaching certification from the Neuro Leadership Institute. And this was in about 2010-11. And then I did my PCC from ICF in 2016. So my formal coaching training and journey has been over 10 years now. And the real stimulus for this came from my work with SHL. SHL is a global leader, a British multinational, in providing talent management solutions to companies. So I was the managing director India from 2005, beginning till about end of 2018. And we worked with a large number of companies providing talent management solutions where we assessed talent and put together a development plan. And typically these were IDPs, and IDPs based on assessment of talent. And this was at all levels, right from junior management level to leadership levels. And these IDPs were typically the 70-20-10 formula-driven development plans. As I worked with senior people, senior leaders, I realized that one of the most effective ways of developing leaders, bringing about behavioral changes, is through coaching. The 70-20-10 principle did not always, or did not most of the time, work with these leaders. I did a lot of study on neuroscience and coaching at that time, and I realized that coaching is a very, very powerful approach for bringing about changes in behavior, developing competencies, particularly at leadership level. So that's how my journey on coaching started. And over the last 10 years, it has been a wonderful journey for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And indeed, I can't agree more that it always starts best at the top. And if we're able to influence leaders to have, a mindset towards coaching in their organizations, there's that much more change that they can bring about.
Absolutely.
Moving on, I'd like to understand from you, I've heard varied definitions of coaching. Of course, there is the ICF definition, but what is coaching to you? And if I were to ask you, is there an analogy that you'd like to give for coaching?
I think that coaching is a very powerful approach for helping an individual to overcome obstacles, bottlenecks, challenges, and reach their goals that they have in mind, their aspirations, and actually realize their full potential. In fact, I really admire the definition of coaching given by ICF, and I'm sure it's come up with a lot of thinking and research, that coaching is a thought-provoking and creative process where the coach partners with the coachee or the client to help the coachee reach their full potential or realize their potential both at a personal and professional level. So I think this is a very powerful and very appropriate definition of what coaching is. Coaching helps an individual aspire, reach their aspirations, reach their goals, overcome obstacles, bottlenecks, and realize their full potential. And I really, in terms of an analogy, I find it very difficult to think of an analogy because coaching is unique. It's different from mentoring, as we all know. It's different from consulting. So it's a unique process. And in fact, in my view, the coaching is quite a different thing from coaching in sports, where it is a lot more mentoring than a pure form of coaching. So that's my definition of coaching and what coaching is all about.
You said that coaching is not like sports coaching. Can you tell me, for example, when you have people talk to you about this, that what subject or what kind of coaching do you do, or what skill do you teach? Do you have that, and do you get that, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I get a lot of it saying that can you coach this person to develop how to do more of sales management or more of strategic thinking. Coaching works at a behavioral level. Coaching is not related to skill sets, particularly, definitely technical skill sets. Coaching is all about bringing about those behavioral aspects, behavioral changes, which help you learn the skill sets better, help you deliver or demonstrate those skill sets better. But it's the underlying behaviors that coaching works on. So it's really industry agnostic. It doesn't depend on your subject knowledge. It's only your ability to help the coachee work on his or her behaviors.
So, YVL, what is the type of client you most serve, or what is the type of coaching that you most do and enjoy doing?
I like to work with leaders, and that's because, given my background of leadership positions across businesses, across different geographies, I'm able to bring in a unique perspective. And when a leader is facing a particular type of challenge, I'm able to empathize with it. I'm able to offer a unique perspective. I'm able to help the individual look at issues from a different perspective. So my experience of leadership positions across multiple industries helps me really benefit my coachees. And therefore, I like to work with individuals who are holding leadership positions. And the approach I like to follow is a whole person approach. You cannot really separate a professional life and a personal life. Each has an impact on the other. Therefore, your coaching needs to look at both in a holistic manner. And one of the key points I make in many forums or to many people is that today individuals are reaching leadership positions at a very young age. In addition to the huge challenges of this VUCA environment in the business, they're also facing challenges at a personal level. They have working spouses, they have young children, they have travel requirements, they have health considerations. So all these create a huge impact on an individual's mindset. And therefore, it's very important during coaching to address both areas. That's your personal life as well as your professional life. And help the individual explore these areas and see how one is impacting the other and how they can overcome challenges in either one of these or both of these to realize their full potential and overcome their obstacles.
Lovely. Which ICF competencies do you most personally resonate with?
That's a difficult question, because I personally believe that all the competencies are absolutely essential. Basically, some of these are foundation, as ICF themselves calls, like ethical practice, establishing trust and safety, having a very clear coaching agreement. These are absolutely what I would call the bare minimum that a coach has to have. Personally, for me, presence is a very, very important thing. And that requires a lot of internal work. Because as we know, our mind keeps wandering around. It's never still and focused. So during a coaching session, to be present completely with the coachee, to be completely focused on what the coachee is saying, is feeling, is demonstrating through body language, verbal, non-verbal cues, is absolutely critical. So presence to me is a very, very important competency.
I'm going to probe you a little bit there. So
Sure.
tell me about presence. How do you instill presence not only in your life, but also in your coaching sessions?
I think one of the key things, if you ask me, is to be still, is to develop a still mind and a mind that can focus on the present. I heard someone, he calls himself a monk, I don't know if you've heard of him, called Dandapani.
Yes.
He says that most of our lives, we are never still. Particularly our mind is never still. And we are never taught to concentrate and to focus and to be still. That, he says, is to be taught from childhood. But of course, most of us have missed that during our childhood. But it's a conscious practice one needs to make. And that one needs to build into one's daily routine. It could be through meditation. It could be looking at various activities you take and just focusing on those. For example, while eating, don't get distracted. Focus on your eating. Do not look at the TV. Do not look at your mobile phone or read a paper. Concentrate on eating. So through this constant practice of various activities in your daily life, you can develop the habit of being present. And it has helped me, definitely. I've got miles and miles to go, but I'm finding myself better than what I was, say, 5 years back by some of these practices.
Lovely. Can you share a coaching success story that you feel really good about? And what was your personal learning from that experience?
Yeah, I think I can narrate a fairly recent coaching I did assignment. My client, a coachee, was the head of sales and distribution for a large multinational manufacturing company. And this individual was tipped to grow into a business unit head position. But there were a couple of issues connected with his managing his team and team members. And therefore, the HR head, as well as the current BU head, said that, look, can you coach this individual? And of course, the individual was very keen to go through the coaching as well. So what we did was, as a starting point, by the way, we also wanted to track improvement as a result of coaching over a period of time. So to start with, we did a 360-degree feedback, where his direct reports and peers gave feedback. And very clearly, a couple of behaviors emerged from the direct reports that needed addressing. So we had a benchmark to start with. And we also did a personality profile of the individual, which helped us, both the coachee and me, understand what are the personality aspects of this individual that may be leading to these behaviors. So in our coaching, very first coaching engagement or the very first session, we went over these and agreed on what are the areas that we're going to be really focusing on over the next 6 odd sessions. So this was a very interesting journey. And as we explored this, as the coachee started working on some of those areas, he came up with the solutions that he wants to implement. And at the end of 6 or 8 months, after 6 sessions, we did another dipstick 360-degree, a very short one, focusing only on those behaviors. And there were very clear improvements on these behavioral parameters, behavioral aspects, as reported by the people reporting to the coach, to this coachee. So we said that really this has really benefited, and actually to solidify some of the behavioral changes the individual had made, we had another 3 follow-up sessions over that. And to me, this was a very satisfying experience. Looking back, I think one of the areas probably learning I got out of this was I probably could have, at critical stages, involved or briefed the BU head about the changes and the improvements taking place, or ask the coachee to brief, better still, to the BU head about the improvements that he himself was noticing and his direct reports were noticing. That would have probably solidified the whole process a little more. But I think overall, to me, this was one of the very good examples of very useful coaching sessions.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Must have felt very gratifying to see
Yes.
change and improvements, especially in the scores that you did and, the post dipstick. Wonderful.
Yeah.
As you know, with COVID-19 happening and so much of impact globally, how do you feel coaching can impact and be a critical tool in today's times?
The current situation is so challenging. In fact, I call it the e-VUCA world, which is extreme VUCA. I think every leader, not just those at the top, but at every level in the organization, is facing the challenge. They are facing multiple decision points. Should they follow this path? Should they follow this path? If they follow a particular path, what's the impact on employees? What is the impact on the business? What is the impact on the top line, the bottom line? So they have these challenges, and it's best that they voice these challenges, articulate them to somebody who is not involved in the business, who is completely outside, who can look at it from a completely dispassionate perspective and ask questions, raise issues, probably which the leader may not have thought of. So it helps the leader to think about those issues. So the role of the coach is to just raise questions, to probe and help the leader or the individual to think about those issues and bring about a clarity in their minds. In fact, just to give you some outside example, WBEC's World Business Executive and Coaching Summit has been conducting a series of talks by very eminent coaches, international coaches all over the world. And one of the themes emerging from that is that if there is any time that individuals, leaders, managers need support of coaching, this is the time. This is the time when they can talk about the issues they are facing, the problems they're facing, and seek solutions within themselves. And the coach's role is to help them find those solutions. So I think this is a very, very critical time for leaders to reach out to coaches.
Wonderful, YVL. I mean, I'm really happy to have gotten to know, the way you're thinking about coaching, the way it can be applied, your experience, and so much more. Getting to know you was wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the coaching community and the fraternity at large, not only in India, but globally? A message that you would like to give?
Thank you so much, Priya. I think it was a great opportunity for me to talk to you and through ICF Mumbai chapter, talk to a larger audience. The only message I'd like to give is that this is a difficult time, not just for people in business, but for coaches, us coaches as well. We are grappling with a difficult business situation. We are dealing with individuals who are going through huge challenges, both at a personal and professional level. So we have to have the inner strength to be able to not only face our own challenges, but to be able to help our coaches face their challenges and find solutions. So our task as a coach is doubly more challenging. We have to work on ourselves, and we have to help the coaches work on themselves. So I would say this is my single message to my fellow coaches and to the coaching community.
Thank you so much for this, YVL. It has been an absolute pleasure. And on behalf of the ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter, this is Priya Sharma Shaikh signing off. Until next time, be safe and keep coaching.